Hello guys, I'm Stylish and this is another Terran vs Protoss build order VOD. I'm doing this VOD now at 5 AM in the morning and I have no idea why. Well, actually, I kind of have an idea. It's probably because I'm a real smart person, and just before I went to bed I drank 355 milliliters of Red Bull, and well, here I am and I'm not really tired, so I thought I could make a VOD instead. Anyway, I have to keep my voice a bit down now because it's so late, 5 AM, and I'll just move the mic closer to the mouth instead. Hopefully I won't get any drool on it. So this build order is gonna be a pretty standard Terran vs Protoss build order. It's gonna be a 5 factory push at about 9 minutes to get a push to the Protoss third base or main base if that's closer. Anyway, the push is gonna hit hopefully before the Protoss got his leg speed up and before he got his macro up from his 3 bases, because this is a standard counter to the Protoss trend that is when you take an expansion he's gonna take double expansion. So I'm not going to go into general tips, or I'm not going to talk about what I do with my units here, because I'm going to do some things with my units during the game. I'm not going to talk so much about that or the thought behind certain moves or stuff like that, because I'm just going to talk about the build order here. This is a build order VOD and I'm going to stick to the build order, and then later I'm going to do, well, not later today, after this VOD I'm going to go to bed, but tomorrow I'm going to do a game VOD of this on iCup or something like that, and then I'm gonna discuss more about the metagame and about why you make some decisions and what's good to do there and here and there, whatever. Anyway, the build order is you start with 9 supply and then you make 11 racks and 11 refinery, and you should watch closely how I make my refinery. I make my refinery with when I have 11 SVs, but I don't take the 11th SV because he's gonna get to the refinery too late. I actually take another SV, just leaving minerals to the command center, and then bring him to the refinery, and then I take the new made SVs and take him the new made SV and take him to the other SVs mining spots, so I will not lose any time. Anyway, when your barrack is finished, you want to make a factory. You want to take SVs of gas, so you have exactly 100 and then just 1 SV on gas, and then that's you start by taking away SVs from gas when you have 88, then you take another one away, and when the third is leaving his gas you will have 100, and then you have 1 SV on position to make factory. When the barrack is finished you have enough supply and cash to make 1 marine directly when the barrack is finished, so you will have 1 marine priority versus the probe, and I usually set him in a hold position on the ramp, so the probe cannot get in. If the probe gets in, you're gonna make 1 more marine as soon as possible after your second supply is finished, but be sure to make your factory before you add your second supply. Your second supply should be added with the SV that comes out after the factory has started making. Anyway, I'm gonna post the build order, of course, and if something is uncertain you can just rewatch this VOD if there is something I missed, because there certainly will be, because it's so late. Anyway, after your second supply you add a third supply directly. When your factory is almost finished, you take 2 SVs and put back to gas, so you will have enough gas to make 1 tank and upgrade at the same time when the factory and machine shop is finished. You make 4 marines with this build order, and here I move them down. I will talk about that in the game VOD. When the tank is finished, you take 1 SV and you go and make the expansion, usually on spot. And let's see here, after your tank you make a vulture directly, and the vulture gonna pop at the same time as the mine upgrade is finished. And when the vulture pop you make another supply, and then you can wait to make another tank, but usually I don't wait for the tank, I just make another SV and then wait a bit longer for the tank, because 3 mines, 4 marines and 1 tank is usually enough to defend versus some early harass from a Protoss. Anyway, after you start making your second tank, be sure to keep making SVs, but also when you have 125, it's really important that you make an eBay as soon as possible. And let's see here. Yeah, when you're making the eBay, you should start siege upgrade as well. And then when your second tank is done, make a third tank as fast as possible, but be sure to do SVs at all time. And keep track of the CC. So when it's like 1/4 or 1/5 left, you take SVs and transfer. And be sure to wait. One of those SVs that transfers should be going directly to the spot where you make a turret. And I make one turret in my natural and then one turret in my main. I could possibly make 2 turrets if I get valuable information from my scout and I see him going DT or something like that. Of course I make more turrets. Sometimes I make 3 turrets, 1 turret in my expo, 1 in my main, and 1 pretty close to my factory so he cannot DTdrop. And you see here I lift my eBay and lift it over the turrets. I will talk about unit movements and stuff like that in the in-game VOD. Anyway, on 47 you add a second factory. You don't have to add a supply because your CC is gonna finish when you have 42 supplies, so you're gonna get 52 supply. But anyway, when you have like 48 supply or something like that, you add another supply. And at 50 supply, that's the trigger of this build order. At 50 supply, you add your refinery in your expansion, and then you add an armory, and then you add an academy. In that order. Keep making SCVs and keep making a tank from the first factory. When the refiner finishes, you put SCVs into it, and you keep making supply with 1 SCV. Constant supply making. Anyway, soon you're gonna see here I will make 3 more barracks at a certain timing. First, the academy will finish, and I will add comsat at both my CCs. Or maybe, yeah, it's really late here. Okay, I add my factories before. First I add 3 factories, and then I add the comsats on my CC. So I get 3 SVs there really fast by taking 3 SVs from my main and click them on the mineral. I have them on control 7 or something, and when they are in position I just click 7 and then stop and make 3 factories. And you're gonna have just enough gas to make 3 factories and just enough minerals. I'm gonna write the exact supply count when you should add them later in the thread, of course. Anyway, and after that you add a comsat, and then you have to keep making 2 supplies. And when you have cash for it, you make a tank from your factory and a Goliath as well. If you have died and a marine in the beginning, you make two Goliaths instead of a tank and a Goliath there. And then you upgrade vulture speed as soon as you have 100 gas, and then you upgrade Goliath range as soon as you have another 100 gas. And then basically you're gonna make 2 rounds of vultures when the 3 factories are up. And then you move out when your first round of vultures are finished. Be sure to take 2 SVs with you, or 3 SVs in your push, because you're gonna make some turrets and stuff like that. And right before you move out, you're gonna scan him and see the timing of his third and how many gateways he has. I don't scan here though because I'm not facing any real opponents. And when you move out, you will have about 90 supply, and the timing will be about 9 minutes exactly. Well, about 8 minutes and 58 seconds to 9 minutes and 2 seconds or something like that. And then you just move out and you put rally point with your second round of vultures from all factories. You put rally point to the place where you're gonna make the push, and then you take 1 SV and be ready to expand, because you're gonna have to micro a bit here, and it's gonna be a bit hard to keep really low minerals, and usually you get 400 or something, and then you just take an expansion. Or you could add another factory earlier and you don't take the expansion, but this is pretty standard. Anyway, and then after that second round of vultures, you keep making tanks and vultures. Also be sure to upgrade. GG.